Episode 41E5 of 6 Goethe and Spain study in Rotterdam, the Netherlands shows PM 2.5 alters children's brain structures. Goethe noted that the Barcelona Institute for Global Health, IS Global, published in the journal Environmental Pollution a study of children aged 9 to 12, who were exposed to air pollutants in the womb and during the first 8.5 years of life. They found alterations in white matter structural connectivity in the brain. The greater the child's exposure before age 5, the greater the brain structure alteration observed in pre-adolescence. The study was led by the Barcelona Institute for Global Health, IS Global, a research center supported by the La Caixa Foundation. In addition to the association between air pollution and white matter microstructure, the study also found a link between specific exposure to fine particulate matter, PM 2.5, and the volume of the putamen, a brain structure involved in motor function, learning processes, and many other functions. As the putamen is a subcortical structure, it has broader and less specialized functions than cortical structures. The study found that the greater the exposure to PM 2.5, especially during the first 2 years of life, the greater the volume of the putamen in pre-adolescence. A larger putamen has been associated with certain psychiatric disorders, schizophrenia, autism spectrum disorders, and obsessive-compulsive spectrum disorders, says a woman IS Global researcher and first author of the study. The novel aspect of the present study is that it identified periods of susceptibility to air pollution, she goes on to explain. We measured exposure using a finer timescale by analyzing the data on a month-by-month basis, unlike previous studies in which data was analyzed for trimesters of pregnancy or childhood years. In this study, we analyzed the children's exposure to air pollution from conception to 8.5 years of age on a monthly basis. Effects observed even at pollution levels complying with European Union standards. Another strong point of this study is that the data analyzed came from a large cohort of 3,515 children enrolled in the Generation R study in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. To determine each participant's exposure to air pollution during the study period, the researchers estimated the daily levels of particulate matter, PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 absorbance at their homes during the mother's pregnancy and until they reached 8.5 years of age. When participants were between 9 and 12 years analyzed by age, they underwent brain magnetic resonance imaging to examine the structural connectivity and the volumes of various brain structures at that time. The levels of PM 2.5 recorded in the present study exceeded the annual thresholds limits specified in the current World Health Organization guidelines, 5 micrograms per meter cubed, but met European Union, EU, standards, an indication that brain development can be affected by exposure to air pollution at levels lower than the current EU air quality limit values. One of the important conclusions of this study, explains a researcher, is that the infant's brain is particularly susceptible to the effects of air pollution not only during pregnancy, as has been shown in earlier studies, but also during childhood. We should follow up and continue to measure the same parameters in this cohort to investigate the possible long-term effects on the brain of exposure to air pollution, concluded a second woman, an IS Global researcher and the last author of the study. Episode 41E6 of 6 Goethe and a study in Middle East shows anthropocentrically caused, human-caused, including residential wood-burning caused, illnesses from PM 2.5 on top of PM 10 Middle East dust causes of human illness. Goethe noted that, in the Middle East, desert dust is assumed to dominate air pollution, being in permanent violation of public health guidelines. Goethe read a study that presented shipborne measurements from around the Arabian Peninsula and modeling results to show that hazardous fine particulate matter is to a large extent of anthropogenic origin, 9 greater than 90%, and distinct from the less harmful, coarse desert dust particles. Conventionally, it was understood that desert dust dominates both the fine and coarse aerosol size fractions, which obscures the anthropogenic signal. The researchers concluded, we find that the annual excess mortality from the exposure to air pollution is 745, 514 to 1097, per 100,000 per year, similar to that of other leading health risk factors, like high cholesterol and tobacco smoking. Furthermore, anthropogenic pollution particles account for a major part, around 53%, of the visible aerosol optical depth. Therefore, in the Middle East, anthropogenic air pollution is a leading health risk and an important climatic factor. Above we demonstrated that, in particular over the region of the Arabian Gulf, the model consistently underestimates the concentration of a number of air pollutants, including PM2.5, while performing well elsewhere in the Middle East and across different regimes of pollution. Mary noted that the focus of residents against wood smoke emission particulates, RoSEP, is on the health effects to near neighbors of living next to residential wood burning, in those hyper-localized areas where the source of particulate pollution, PM2.5, is concentrated. PM2.5, particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, is the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, causing a cascade of human health problems. Wood smoke consists of 90% PM2.5. Residential PM2.5 monitors can be purchased by neighbors from Purple Air for less than $300, and their locations are put on the online Purple Air map, along with data uploaded every 10 minutes, available to the general public, and of course, to governmental authorities. Neighbors of residential wood burners would like their Purple Air PM2.5 monitor data to be used to regulate and shut down residential wood burning detected at neighbors' fence lines that exceeds the World Health Organization, WHO, standards of 5 micrograms per meter cubed or future U.S. standards of 8 micrograms per meter cubed. There could even be court-ordered monitoring using a neighbor-owned Purple Air PM2.5 monitor as a breathalyzer, similar to car breathalyzers court-ordered for repeat drunk drivers, to turn off the ignition of a neighboring indoor wood stove when levels of PM2.5 in a near neighbor's yard is exceeded. In this way, governmental authorities would not have to check the make and model of an appliance and would not have to rely on unreliable certification and other worthless assurances of levels of wood stove particulate emissions by the company that manufactured the wood stove. Purple Air monitors also provide data every 10 minutes 24 hours a day, and data can be downloaded from the map by governmental authorities the day after the PM2.5 levels are exceeded, during normal government working hours. Purple Air PM2.5 monitors are so reliable and accurate they are put on U.S. Air Now smoke and fire maps alongside $100,000 Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, monitors, correlated to the EPA monitors with a simple mathematical formula. But to publicize this, it is necessary to point out that living hyperlocalized next to a residential wood burner is essentially the same as living hyperlocalized next to any kind of PM2.5 emitting wood burning appliance, next to a PM2.5 emitting wood burning wildfire, or next to a PM2.5 emitting industrial biomass, wood, burning facility.